Craigery insults?
Craigathy.
Craigery.
Craigrick.
Craigrick? I thought it was, short for Rossel or Rostifer. No? No, just Ross. Pretty. All right. Well, let's do this. Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the Watch It Bro podcast. I am Tristan.
And I am Marshall. Is it really 16 already?
It is 16, and they have gone really quick. I mentioned that to Rachel actually the other day, and she's like, "Wait a minute, 16? I thought we were at like 7." And I'm like, "Nope, nope, 16. We've been doing this 6 months, over 6 months now.
Yeah, we have. Wow.
Yeah, 'cause we started recording in November, beginning of November, and our first episode came out December 3rd.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but today, that episode was Tommy Boy, and today we are going to be looking at The Last Starfighter, which was your pick for Dad.
It was. It was my pick. This is a movie that I remember watching with Dad. I didn't remember as much of it as I thought I did. So it was fun getting to watch it again.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen it at all as a kid, and only 10 years ago I think I saw the first 15 minutes of it.
Yeah,
So this was a whole new experience for me and Rachel.
I'm excited to see what you think at the end.
So shall we get into the specs of it?
Yes, let's do the
All right.
specs.
All right. Here are the specs for The Last Starfighter. It was directed by Nick Castle. It was written by Jonathan R. Betuel. It stars Lance Guest, Dan O'Hurley, Robert Preston, and Catherine Mary Stewart, who you may remember from A Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah,
Have you seen The Weekend at Bernie's?
once.
Okay, so you might not remember her from A Weekend at Bernie's, but she's in it.
Okay.
It was and this was released July 13th, 1984. So we are approaching the 40-year anniversary of this movie.
Yes, we are. That would be this year.
Yes, it would. A couple weeks from now.
Yeah, very cool.
Yep. So, since this was Marshall's choice in movie, I am going to throw the microphone, metaphorically speaking, over to him and have him walk us through this film.
All right. Also, fun fact, Nick Castle, who we mentioned directed this movie, was also involved with Hook, and you mentioned The Last Starfighter as one of his credentials when talking about the specs of it.
Yes, I did. I forgot to mention that. But yes, I listened to our episode of Hook the other day and that came up. All right. All right, Marshall, let's take us through it.
All right. So, The Last Starfighter. It opens up. We see a planet. We see the production company. The title of the movie comes up right away, and like most '80s movies, we get the title, the credits right away. And it is a scene through space where planets are passing by. We go through kind of a warp drive thing of red stars. We get this nice little introduction with the credits and space graphics. So all our fun space imagery fades into Earth. We see a sign that says Starlight, Starbright. And this is the sign to a trailer park where a good chunk of the movie takes place. We focus on a sleeping dog. We see an alarm clock in a mobile home go off. Cat crawls out of a mailbox. Not going to forget the cat.
So you cannot forget that cat.
No, that cat's an important character. But we're looking at early morning in this mobile park. As the alarm goes off, we hear somebody on the radio talking about seeing lights in the sky. The local police saying it's swamp gas, and people saying there's no swamps around here. That's not swamp gas. That there's the classic UFO explanation for seeing lights and stuff.
Yeah. Well, UFOs were big in the 80s.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, yes. I mean, UFOs were kind of big since Roswell,
Yeah,
and then when the '80s hit and people started getting video cameras and
right. And I think with the success of Star Wars, um,
huh,
outer space became very
very popular.
popular throughout the 80s and into the 90s, and aliens became popular as well. So,
Um,
continue.
so we get into the wake up routine of this trailer park. One of the characters, Elvira, is complaining about her power being out. that she can't watch her soaps. She yells at another character, Clara, who yells at Bill to spread the word as he's walking by. And we're briefly introduced to Maggie, one of the main characters. She borrows a cooler from Mrs. Boone. We see Mr. Boone headed out fishing. She says to her granny as she walks by that she left her lunch for her in the fridge.
And Granny looks really familiar, but I cannot pinpoint her in anything.
She does look familiar, and I couldn't. I looked her up. It was like maybe
Yeah, no, I think she looks like other grannies.
that could be
Like,
just that
yeah,
classic grandma look.
yeah, maybe. I think she reminded me a bit of Ellen Dowd.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. And so then I was expecting her when I looked her up and it wasn't her, so I was like, "Oh, but she looks familiar, so she's got to be in something." She was not.
But Maggie continues on and ends up at the manager's trailer and talks to Mrs. Rogan and is asking about where Alex is and if she's got the picnic basket for her. Maggie is gathering supplies, saying hey to everybody. She's planning on headed out to spend some time at the lake with her friends. Mrs. Rogan doesn't know where Alex is and asks her son Lewis, who comes out, to let Alex know that people are looking for him. Lewis is wearing a space helmet and has a little pellet gun, and he's just kind of shooting everything as he moves through this trailer park.
But
Um,
that's why I think it's a potato gun, not a pellet gun.
oh, yeah, he does shoot a couple people too.
And a pellet gun's gonna hurt, and a potato gun's just gonna be like, "Get out of here, you annoying little brat."
Yeah, so that makes sense. But he's playing spaceman, like he's a space hero.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, there's a kid in this whole opening scene in a red shirt running around that you never see his face, but he's played by Will Wheaton, and he's labeled as Lewis's friend.
Yes, he is. And those of you who don't know who Will Wheaton is, yes, it is Wesley Crusher from Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's that Will Wheaton, not the
Yes,
other Will Wheaton.
there's another Will Wheaton.
Nope.
But yeah, in the credits, he's labeled as Lewis's friend. Do we ever see his face in this movie? No. Do we ever see him again in this movie? No. Does he ever see him with Lewis? No.
I think he originally had a bigger part.
Possibly
He
that they just
Because
kind of cut him out.
otherwise, yeah, because otherwise, why would they give him a credit? Because they didn't give because he's running. He's got the red shirt. He's running, and he's playing tag. And there's a group of 4 kids running,
Yes,
and none of those other kids have credits, but Will Wheaton does. So it makes me think that at some point there was a scene where Lewis and his friend have
possibly. That would make sense.
that didn't make the final cut of the movie. Because I think movies in the 80s were a lot more particular about time,
Yeah,
where like a 2-hour movie was considered a long movie in the 80s, and they didn't tend to go much over 2 hours if they went 2 hours.
makes sense. So yeah, Lewis is on his way to go find Alex, and this is where we cut to Alex. We see him standing outside the little market at the top of the mobile home hill, looking at the Starfighter arcade cabinet. And this is a pretty cool arcade cabinet. Doesn't have just a standard joystick or buttons. It's got two sticks, like a throttle with a weapon with a button on it for a weapon, and another stick to like you're flying a starship.
Yeah, it's very. If you're gonna have an arcade cabinet at your little trailer park convenience store on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, this is the one to have.
That or Miss Pac-Man.
That is a toss up, yeah.
But he's getting ready to play. The game kicks on. It says, "Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against the Zur and the Kodan Empire. Get ready to prepare for blastoff." Lewis shows up and tells Alex that people are looking for him. Alex just kind of brushes him off and starts playing while Lewis watches his kind of backseat plays, tells him to shoot this asteroid, look out over there. Standard little brother stuff.
Hmm. As a little brother, I can vouch for the authenticity of that.
Yeah, and as an older brother, I can vouch for the backseat gaming.
I know you were all curious to know if that was accurate or not.
Yes, and we can confirm.
Yes.
At this point, the friends show up in the truck. A truck pulls up, has a bunch of teenagers in it, and Maggie's showing up too, with her picnic basket and cooler. Alex kind of stops playing the game. He's going to go with them to the beach. It's going to be a day trip. And while Alex is checking the mail, I'm going to call them friends, but they never actually seem like friends.
No, they just kind of pick on him. I think
Yeah.
they're friends with Maggie,
And
and
Alex is
then
there.
he's just there because he's dating Maggie.
Yeah, could be. But Alex is checking the mail for something. And yeah, they're giving a hard time about
He wants to go
being
to
at
college.
right, he wants to go to college and not city college. He wants to go to a big university and do something with his life. And they're like, "Oh, you're never gonna get out of here." And he's like, "Watch me. This place sucks."
Pretty much, yeah. I
Or
mean,
this place is stupid.
the trope of many a movie where that involves, a kid from a small town or a small area or what have you crying, you know, "Oh, I gotta get out of here." I mean, that's been the trope of many a movie.
Right. He wants more for himself. He wants more for Maggie. He wants to get out of this little dinky town and do something.
Yeah.
So they're all getting ready to go, and you hear Mrs. Rogan calling for Alex, saying that Elvira's lost power, it needs to get fixed. And he's like, "But I was gonna go to Silver Lake and hang out with my friends." In a very reminiscent scene of Luke telling his Uncle Owen he was gonna go to Tosche Station to pick up some converters.
Yes.
As
Uh,
soon as
uh,
he said it,
okay, so we are going to make the comparisons throughout this of how it's a ripoff of Star Wars.
no, how it pays homage to Star Wars.
Sure. However you want to put it.
But yes, yes. As soon as like, but I was gonna go to the I was gonna go to Silver Lake and hang out with my friends. I'm like, oh, that's that sounds just like Luke saying he's gonna go to Tashi Station.
It was a good opener.
It was, but his mom's like, come on, and he's like, fine. And he's like, hey, I'll meet you up at the lake later. I gotta take care of this. It'll take a while. Maggie's like, I'll stay with you. He's like, no, 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 you go have fun. I'll catch up. Yeah. So Alex stays. And time passes, and we see that it's nighttime. Alex is getting home, and he did not go to the lake. He spent all day working at the trailer park, which I don't think he gets paid for. I think he just lives there as the manager's son and gets voluntold to do things.
Yeah, that's how it seems. But so his mom is the manager
Right. Yes,
of
yes.
it.
Because on the side of their trailer it said managers. Because so she kind of runs she's in charge.
Sure. And yeah, so I guess he handles maintenance and they just kind of get what a maintenance tech would get
Yeah, I mean,
since she runs it, it's kind of included.
that could be that she kinda does everything, and then the money comes in as the family does stuff around the park, like, he does maintenance, Lewis shoots people, and
Yeah.
she manages the residents.
So there's like a salary or it's in the budget for a manager, a maintenance tech, an annoying kid to shoot people,
Right.
and it just kind of they're on salary, and that's what's frustrating is they get a certain amount and he just has to be on call 24/7.
Yeah. Well, and she has another job in the town at a cafe.
Right. So they're not making.
No, they're all just trying to scrape by.
Yeah.
At this point, we see Alex sitting in his room, which he shares with Lewis in the trailer, and we hear people outside talking as Alex watches this little planet mobile spin in his room. But after a few minutes, we see Alex start mouthing what the guys outside are saying, which means they've had this conversation before. Talking about fishing, and he's realizing he's like, I gotta get out of here. This is this is
No kidding.
like it's the same conversation. I know what they're gonna say, and he's frustrated. He gets up and he goes to play Starfighter.
Yeah, I mean it's bad when you can mouth the words to like a TV show, but
Yeah,
to literally hear the conversation about fishing outside your window and be able to like, oh, bah, 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 and mouth along with it and be right, like
right. It's
that. It
I
just
was
it's a good way to depict how what's the word? How repetitive and mundane life in that trailer park really is for Alex,
yes, yes, yes. It is
without just coming out and saying it.
exactly.
So he's off to
Uh,
play Starfighter.
yes, he's off to play Starfighter. He's at the arcade, and Otis, the manager or owner of the little store up here, comes out to clean up and is talking to Alex. He's like, "Hey, where's Maggie? Did you have fun today?" And Alex is lamenting the fact that he didn't have fun. He never has fun. He's always here unclogging toilets, fixing power, and Maggie's out having fun at the lake. And Otis is like, "Well, things change, and when you see that opportunity, you just kind of got to grab on, hang on tight, and ride it out till whatever happens happens." And Alex is just kind of like, yeah, okay." And then Maggie shows up. She gets dropped off by Jack. I'm sorry, she gets dropped off by Jake because minor character names are important.
Yeah,
um,
Jake.
Jake,
Is it Jack? I thought it was Jack Blake,
Jake Blake, Jake, Jack Blake. I wrote Jack.
and his last name is Blake.
Yes,
Let me pull it up.
it doesn't matter. We guy with a cowboy hat drops off Maggie.
Jack Blake.
Jack Blake. Okay, I did write it right. Why
Mhm.
did I think it was Jake?
Cause Blake.
Jake Blake. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, Jack. Jake. No, it is Jake.
Jack. It is
Jeez.
Jack. Great with names.
I am great with names. Jack drops off Maggie. He's the kid driving the truck. He's got a cowboy hat, and she comes over to talk to Alex while Otis starts smoking a pipe over in the corner. Maggie's talking to Alex. Alex is being all jealous of Jack. It's like, oh, Jack had nothing to do to drop you off, and Maggie's like, yeah, I was on the way his way home, and he's like, he lives on the other side of town. This is not in his on his way. She's like, well, I was coming back here to see you.
Makes a good point.
Yeah. She smoozed him over, and he's like, "Okay, okay. Thanks for coming back. Sorry I didn't meet you. We just got busy here." So they're talking a little bit, and then we see that Alex hits 900,000 on the machine. There is a record breaking score coming up, and the machines start letting people know when Otis comes over and is like, "Holy cow, you're gonna do this. You're gonna get the record." And he leans over the little railing and starts yelling at the trailer park for everybody to come on up that Alex is going to break the record. And we see everybody start coming up the hill as Alex is playing the game. And they're, yes,
Can we just talk about the fact that 95% of those people aren't even going to know what any of those words mean?
I think they
And
understand that the boy's playing a game and he's going to do really well.
sure, but in 1984, how many people over the age of 19 cared about video games?
Not a lot.
Does the town have that little going on that, like, hey, we like Alex and he's gonna do real good at this game? And everyone's like, yeah, but they seem to know what's going on is the thing.
A little bit. Well, the game's been there a while. Alex keeps playing it, and I'm sure as the weeks and months have gone by of that machine up there, he's talked to people while playing it. It's like, hey, this is a fun game, and they just kind of all know that this is what Alex does, and now there's a high score that he's about to beat.
Or is Otis in on it?
See, I always kind of thought Otis was in on it. He goes back and forth. Like sometimes he's like, "Oh, I'm playing coy. I don't know what's going on," and sometimes he's I mean, he's riled up this trailer park to give Alex the confidence and motivation there. So
Well, okay, so him winning in a video game, not exciting at all. The prize that comes from winning that video game, big deal.
yes, I mean, still getting a high score in an arcade machine is kind of fun.
Sure.
But at this point, the whole trailer park is gathered around. They're cheering him on. The dog's at his feet. The cat's on top of the arcade machine, kind of batting at the screen.
You get a lot of awkward close-ups of people cheering him on.
Yeah, yeah, they're all excited. They're having a blast. He blows up the command ship. Maggie kisses him, and everybody cheers. He breaks the record, and everybody's
What a
just celebrating.
sad little town.
It's a trailer park. It's not even the town. We cut to the Starlight Starbright sign. Alex and Maggie are sitting together while people are passing by their little trailer saying, good job, Alex." And someone's saying, "He's such a smart boy. He'll go far."
Why those words?
I don't know, but they're hyping him up. They're all excited about Alex because he's the one that fixes all their problems. And as a maintenance tech, I can contest to people being very happy with maintenance teams and maintenance people, especially if you're good at what you do and you make sure people's problems are taken care of.
Oh, that's probably why I never got that reaction from people.
Oh, well, it's a nice feeling.
I'm sure it is. I wonder what it's like to be a good maintenance tech. I was mediocre. I fix stuff, so I mean, There were things that I was good at, so when I got the things that were into my wheelhouse, it was real fun.
That's good.
The part I didn't like was coming into something I didn't know.
And that's when you call me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's continue on.
Okay.
So after everybody's kind of walking by, boosting Alex up, Maggie's like, "I good night. I gotta go."
Yeah, sudden shift in her mood.
Yeah, yeah. Sudden shift in her mood. But
You lose your spot.
no, I thought there was something else in there, but oh well. Yeah, so Maggie says goodnight. She shifts her mood, kind of shifts. I think we'll find out later that her mood shift becomes because she realizes Alex wants more, and she's just happy being here. But back home, Alex's mom shows up because she wasn't at the cheer fest for Alex. She was working at her job at the cafe in the city. But he tells her he broke the record on
And
the
she
machine.
has a normal reaction to it.
She's like, "Oh,
Oh,
that's
good for you.
nice. Hey, I got this
Yeah,
letter from you or for you."
right. That's the reaction that most people in that trailer park would have had. Oh, good for you, honey. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, she's got a letter for him as the one he was looking for in the mail, and she's like, "Hey, they wanted to make sure you got this right away, so they gave it to me instead of putting it in the mail. But you didn't get the loan you wanted to go to the big college. But you can still go to city college with your friends." And the look on his face, like, I don't like those people. I don't want to go to city college.
that yeah, yeah, it very, very much of like those aren't really his friends.
Right. So Alex is upset. He leaves he runs out of the trailer, heads up to the Starfighter arcade machine. We see a shooting star in the background, and the game starts acting up and flashing. And he's kind of looking at it. He's not sure what's going on. And then we hear this whooshing noise, and he turns around, and then we see an almost DeLorean sitting in the road.
Yeah, it's an almost DeLorean.
Yeah, it's fun fact, it is based off a DeLorean, which would later be popular in Back to the Future because it did not come out before this movie.
No, it didn't. It came out the next year.
Yes. But yes, so we see this almost DeLorean and the door rises up and there's a man inside and he's like, "Hey, do you know who beat the record on the arcade machine?" And Alex is like, "Well, you're looking at him. It was me." He's like, "Great. I invented the game and my name is Centauri and I'm here to talk to you. Come step into my office and we need to talk." Alex is a little hesitant. He's like, "Oh, okay." And he kind of gets in the car and sitting next to him is a shadowed figure, and Tari is like, "Oh, this is my assistant, Beta," and Beta sticks a hand out to shake it. Alex shakes his hand and gets shocked, and then Beta steps out of the car. Centauri says he's impressed, and he has a proposition for him if he's interested. And Alex seems very unsure, but he's like, I guess this sounds good." And Centauri laughs. He's like, "Fantastic." The door closes, he floors it, and the car takes off.
Yeah.
uh,
It
and
just the whole scenario of, "Hey, you beat the high score. Hop on in the car. Let's go for a drive and talk." The guys and Alex is like, "I hate this place so much that yeah."
right, and the fact that he got in willingly and said sure is like, well, it's not exactly kidnapping. It's very close, but
Y movie's got a movie.
movie's got a movie, and it does. And so as they take off, we see Beta standing in the road, and Centauri starts talking to him. He's like, "You know what's funny? This is all a big mistake. That machine wasn't even supposed to be here. That machine was supposed to be in Vegas."
Which
Um,
that pokes a big hole in the plot that Otis is in on it.
unless if Otis is on it, he made sure that machine was there instead of Vegas.
True, Otis could be a higher up.
I wouldn't say higher up. We'll get into Centauri's plan in a little bit, but at least somebody that knows what's going on with Centauri.
Okay.
But yeah, he says the machine shouldn't have been there. It should have been in Vegas. So maybe it's destiny, fate, blind chance, luck, even whatever it
Otis.
was. Otis, whatever it was that you're sitting here in front of me right now. They fly past a cop who clocks them at 303 miles an hour, and Alice asks where they're going. And Centauri's very coy. He's like, "Oh, it's a surprise."
I like Centauri a lot.
Yes, Centauri is great. He's the whole time he's like, "Hey, you're not the type of kid that reads a end of a mystery before you finish it, or you sneaks down to look at your Christmas presents before you can open them. No, no, you like surprises, so I'm not gonna tell you."
Yeah, he's a great character, and the actor that played him very well.
Yes, yes. The car drives through this tunnel, and we see Alex kind of like, there's nothing. The road ends at the end of this, and kind of freaks out as the car drives over the cliff. The wheels kind of pop up. It turns into an not an airplane. It turns into a spaceship and just starts flying away.
And like this whole time, Centauri's never really paying that much attention to the road.
No, no, he's just kind of weaving around. He's like, "We're going this way," and I mean, they're going at 303 miles an hour.
Yeah, so probably some autopilot going on.
Probably a little bit. As it flies off, you can see his license plate says Rylos on the back.
Didn't see that at all.
Oh,
What is Rylos?
Rylos is the planet they're going to. There, I buried the lead,
Thank
or
you.
not to bury the lead. Rylos is the name of the planet they are going to. So as they're kind of floating off into space, we see Centauri kind of messing with his face. He's got a handkerchief that he's rubbing his face, and you can see he's pulled out his eyes or something.
No,
Um,
he takes his face off,
that yeah,
like in
okay.
that movie Face Off.
Anyway, he looks back at Alex briefly, and you can see it's kind of a dark face with glowing purple eyes. And Alex like, "Oh,
Yeah, that would get you.
yeah." But he puts his face back on, and he's all good. He was like, "Okay, let's go, guys. Let's go, Alex." He pops it into Star Drive to be legally distinct from Star Wars, and the stars start flying by. It turns red, and they go into this Star Drive mode. Okay. Centauri starts talking in an alien language. That it's basically, it seems like they're clear to land once they drop out of Star Drive. They end up on an alien planet, kind of in this. They land in this tunnel and pull into this little docking area or parking spot, because that's what it is. He drives up into this parking spot. Centauri gets out and just kind of leaves him in the car.
He's got stuff to do. Yeah,
A lady alien comes to the side of the car, opens the door, is like, "Hey, come on," speaking in an alien dialect, not actually communicating English with him, but she's like, "This way," waving him over. No one can see me waving. I'd have to describe it. They're kind of
I was gonna see how long it took you to get there
he's like, "Doing this." So he gets out. He gets out and kind of ushered onto this conveyor belt where he starts moving along. The alien's kind of waving at him as he goes away, and he's given a uniform by a guy sitting at a booth. And Centauri shows up and says, "Welcome to Rylos," which is the planet that they're on, which I mentioned before. And Alex like, "Wait, like the game?" And Centauri's like, "Oh, he's quick. He's a quick one, this kid." Yeah. You're smart. Have fun. And the conveyor belt kicks on as Alex is moving on. Centaur's like, may the luck of the seven pillars of Ghoul be with you through all these times.
because they can't say "May the Force be with you."
Yes.
Thank you.
So in 84 when this came out, it would have been the year after Return of the Jedi. So
Yes,
we've already all three of the Star Wars movies have come out, and now there's the Last Starfighter, which, I mean, you always get movies that come out after something else to kind of capitalize on the trend there of space
sure.
travel and things like that. So we cut to Lewis. He's looking through Alex's stuff when Maggie comes in and notices Alex in the bed in the pile of blankets. Lewis leaves like, "Hey, I know about the loan. If you need to talk, I'm next door." And he just kind of grunts, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave. I know you're upset." The blankets start shuffling and then get pulled back, and we see this weird melty face in a very labored breathing. Back in space, we're seeing around the space station, aliens walking around, robots. Alex seeing gun stars like from the game. He's like, "Oh, what's going on? This is weird." An alien calls him over and puts a translator on him and tells him to go sit with the other recruits. And they see a bunch of aliens, even ones that look like Zoidberg from Futurama. They got the tentacles coming out of their face.
Yep.
So he kind of heads over that way as Ambassador Endurum arrives to address the Starfighter command personnel. As Alex is making his way to a seat, he steps on one of the aliens, a Bogatti. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your whatever you have down there." he sits next to another alien who's friendly. He's like, "Hey, that's Bugatti. They're known to be vicious. They're great for fighting, like because of the war and everything, but they you don't want to get on their bad side." And I was like, "We're in a war." Ambassador Endurin tells about the great frontier barrier of energy that encircles all the peaceful systems of the universe. And then there's a dark betrayer who's kind of caused the this frontier to be on the brink of collapse. Somebody's betrayed all the peaceful alliances or peaceful planets and systems. And so, out of the billions of Centauris, or out of the billions of creatures in the Star League, only these few were found to have the right gifts to be starfighters. And there's about 13 pilots here, including
Mhm.
Alex. And they're the only ones that can stand between the Kodan Empire and victory or death. Alex sees Centauri and kind of is like, I gotta talk to that guy because I know that guy. This is all weird.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not. He he got almost kidnapped because he got involuntarily. No, he got kidnapped. He got tricked into a van like with candy or a puppy.
Yeah, no, they said, "I got some candy. You wanna come in?" And he's like, "I could use some candy."
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Um,
essentially what happened.
but yeah, so he sees Centauri and follows him, but he bumps into one of the star navigators, first class Grig.
I like Grig.
Grig is my favorite. I remembered
It
loving him as a kid, and I still love Grig.
it's a toss-up between Grig and Centauri for the
Yeah.
best characters in this movie.
And this movie was funnier than I remembered it too, and it's
Oh, yeah?
probably because I understood the jokes more,
Yeah, that I can see that.
as opposed to little six-year-old me, like, "They're fighting things." I mean, because I was 2 when this came out, so I
Right.
I I had seen it a few years later. Anyway, Alex explains to him there must be a mistake, that he doesn't know why he's here, and Grig is like, "Well, where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from Earth." And he's like, "Well, Earth isn't formally a member of the League. You shouldn't be here. This you guys are too primitive."
Immature?
Yeah, yeah, basically. So they go to talk to Centauri, and he's like, Grieg's like, it's illegal to recruit people from these type of worlds that aren't fully in the league yet, because they don't have the technology or wherewithal to be space bound. Centauri's like, what are you, a coward? Just kind of giving it to Alex,
Yeah.
and then
Turns out Alex is a coward.
yeah, he's like, I want more for my life, but this is a lot.
I don't want this much more.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, "No,
Not
I
at an
I kinda just wanna
intergalactic
go
level.
home. Sorry about your war, but I play a video game, not a" um, but we get some lights flashing, and all of a sudden, there's a big blue face in the middle of the command center, and we find out his name is Zur. His face shows up, and he starts talking to the ambassador, who is his father. So this dark betrayer that's betraying the peaceful planets is the ambassador's own son, Zur. And he said, I have caught your spy. We melted his head. You can't get away with this. We are coming to take over, to break down the frontier and wipe out the peaceful planets so I can rule the galaxy. He says, so when the green move of Galen is eclipsed, the Kodan Empire will invade, and Zur laughs and vanishes. He shows up to basically threaten, tell them his plan, that he's coming for him, and there's nothing they can do about it. So Centauri's like, "You see that? See what they're up against? Do you still want to go?" And then we cut to the almost DeLorean flying back in a
A
night.
good visual gag.
Yeah, it's like, "You see that? You see what they're up against? You still want to go?" And they're flying back, and the whole way Centauri is just mocking Alex.
Yes.
He's like, "I thought you wanted more. You're letting people down. It's and Centauri is disappointed to say the least." So, and then we cut to the frontier wall and we see the Zur command ship trying to break the frontier wall and shooting lasers at it. And Zur is on there talking with some of the Kodans, and they bring him a scepter. Some one of his little henchmen brings him the scepter thing, and he's like, "Haha! This proves my ability to lead." And we see a guy named Commander Krill, who seems completely over Zur. Okay, he doesn't seem completely over Zur. He is completely over Zur.
Yes,
Zur
I,
is this.
they are all over Zur.
Yes, Zur is a bratty kid of the ambassador of the Federation, the planet, all the peaceful planets inside the frontier, who got out and is like, I will help you get in and conquer these. Just give me power. And whoever's in charge of the Kodans, like, sure, here's my armada. Go do what you're gonna do. Just once you're done, we'll probably ace you and take over for ourselves. But you know how to get in, so
Yeah,
we
you
need you
got the,
now.
we need you to it needs to be an inside job, and you are Link on the inside, so we're gonna use you till you're no
Exactly.
longer useful.
But the ship manages to cut a hole through through the frontier, and Krill gives the order to fire the meteor gun, and Zur points out that he's the one that gives the orders, like
And
wants to do. He's like,
and
"No,
yeah,
this is my command. I give the orders. Fire the meteor gun." Uh,
and the what the krill, are they
yeah,
krill?
Commander Krill.
Yeah, him and his buddy just kind of they give each other a look.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, "I know how to get in. I know the base location. I know all this stuff. I'm in charge. Fire. I say the thing."
It's almost like put Eric Cartman in command of a starship.
Yes. Yes. That is exactly it. He's got a scepter, he's in charge, he's so they fire the meteor missiles into the frontier, and they just start going. You see the bases on red alert because that's where they aimed the mat, and we see a spy from the Kodan Empire put a bomb on one of the cases, and it goes off, causing a distraction, and basically the base is caught with their pants down, and it blows up.
They get Alderaan.
Yeah, not completely, because the planet's still there. The base is trashed.
Okay, fair.
But on the ship, they get reports that one of the starfighters escaped,
Right. Yes.
meaning Alex.
Yeah. Except he
Um,
actually deserted, and it's a whole
right.
different story.
D- I can you desert if you're tricked into joining something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can desert if you've been drafted.
Uh, yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes, he was drafted, not formally, kind of illegally, but he was drafted. Back on Earth, Centauri is fixing the ship, and Alex like, well, home is just a couple miles this way. I'm gonna walk. And Centauri's like, here, take this. It's a second chance. It's a little communicator. In case you change your mind. He's like, I'm not gonna change my mind, but I'll take it. But Centauri's like, you're walking away from history. This is big. Did Chris Columbus stay home before just not wanting to do anything? Did the Wright brothers only think that birds should fly? Did Gallica think that the Urans were too ugly to save? No.
The last one's obscure.
It's not pertaining to Earth, but and I was like, "Dude, I'm just a kid from a trailer park." And Centauri's like, "Well, then, if that's what you think, that's all you'll ever be."
Go home and drink your blue milk. Oh, wrong movie.
Yeah. And Centauri jumps in the car and drives off, leaving Alex to walk. I like that. He was gonna take him back. Alex says he's gonna walk while he's fixing the car. It's just he doesn't know how long it's gonna be. The car's fixed, like fine, and then he just leaves him there. Alex gets back, it's dark out, and he sees Maggie. Like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she just turns and slaps him. It's like, "Remember, we aren't talking." And Alex like, "That was weird."
Yes.
um,
We
and
also don't know
then
how long he's been gone.
no, we don't. So Alex goes into his room where he meets a fully formed beta unit, which looks exactly like him.
Yes.
And Lewis wakes up, like, "What's going on?" And they both yell at him to go back to sleep.
Yeah. It doesn't do a very good job at passing time. And
No, not particularly. But we get a little information about what the beta unit is. He's like, "Hey, I'm here to be you while you're off doing your thing." He's like, "Well, why don't you go do the thing instead of me?" He's like, I'm a beta unit. I'm not supposed to fight."
yeah. So they
I don't have your
that
skills.
that logic of, oh, I'm a beta unit. I'm not allowed. to participate in the war. They really just kind of threw it out there and told us to accept that.
And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
It's like, oh yeah, yeah, rules, I guess, sure.
Rules, rules. The illegally drafted
Yeah.
Earthian.
Never mind all the rules that were broken when Centauri got Alex out
Right.
there in the first place. But beta units can't fight, so that one we're gonna adhere to.
But Alex goes to contact Centauri to tell him to come get the beta unit.
Yes.
Because he's like, okay, well, if I'm staying, then you don't need to be here. So yeah, Centauri, come get your duplicate. We see a man get dropped off up by the store. He pulls a gun, and his face kind of he turns into an alien.
Yes. It's the game that does it to him. He walks past
Yeah,
the starfighter cabinet and it starts going haywire and then it removes his disguise.
yes, yes, a convenient feature of the Starfighter cabinet. So Alex is still trying to get a hold of Centauri as he's walking around up near the market, and the alien reaches down and grabs Alex, and Alex like, oh, and he starts running. Beta shows up to draw the fire. Centauri shows up at this point and starts shooting at the alien and blows his arm off.
Hmm.
And Centauri explains that this is a hit beast called a Zandozan, and Beta is here to run interference on all the hit beasts that'll be coming for Alex. Um,
Right, because and explains that he's already been recognized as a starfighter and the opposing forces see him as a starfighter and know where he is.
yes. At this point, the Zandozan is not dead, and he shoots Centauri. Centauri shoots him as well, and the Zandozan's dead. And Centauri and Alex are like, "Well, we better go back to Starfighter Command to get this all dealt with." Alex still fairly reluctant, but feeling a bit better because he's not going to get shot at.
Also out of options.
Yeah, and we can see Centauri's hurt from the shot. But they head back, and as they get get closer to the base, they can see how damaged it is. So one thing this movie did that this movie opted to do that Star Wars did not opt to do is use computer graphics for everything
Yes.
and have very little practical effects in the space shots. So
Hmm.
we get and I mean for the time you're like, okay, yeah, it's not
Until
awful.
you until you look at Star Wars and you're like, oh, this film didn't have a budget.
But it's like they just deleted the middle section of this star base that we saw before, and it's nicely cut out.
Yeah.
But you can see that that's there. So they're going back so Alex can join the starfighters, and they can save the day, and he can go home and have his life again. They land in the docking bay 12. They kind of crash land because Centauri passes out. And as they get there, Alex opens the door. He runs over to Grig and says, "Centauri needs your help. Let's go." And they head back. So they open the door. Centauri's not doing too well. He kind of labored breath and he's like, "You're gonna do great, kid," and dies.
Yep. Yeah. So I was surprised that they killed
Yeah,
him.
yeah. He's some of the last words of comfort is like, "Hey, we've got all the money for you. So just as soon as you get better, we'll get you get your money because he did good bringing Alex and good job, Centauri. You're the best." Basically, he's like, "Oh yeah," and then he dies.
Yep.
And Alex follows Grig um, away. Beta, we cut back. We see Beta. He wakes up from the bed because he hears this whirring, and he kind of follows into the window and he sees a moth. There's an issue with his hearing receptor, so he's sits down at the desk. He takes his head off and starts trying to fix the connection in his in his ear. Now, this part I did remember the Alex's head sitting on the desk. I remembered seeing that, but I didn't remember this part because Lewis wakes up and sees him fixing his head, and he's like, "Go back to bed, Lewis. You're having a nightmare."
Yeah. And like, was that a practical effect or was that CGI?
That was I mean, that was a practical effect where they would have the actor that played Alex under the desk where you couldn't see him. I think they may have rotoscoped out the bottom of the desk so you didn't see that, but yeah, that was a practical effect where he was under the desk so his head was on it.
Right. Okay. So I was like, that looked good.
Yeah, that was a good effect.
That looked better than anything in space.
So we're back to Starfighter Command. Alex and Grig get suited up. Alex is getting the new prototype gun star. It's got greater range, more power. Weapons are modified. It's got deflector plates. It's the better version of the gun star.
And it's the only one left.
Yes. I don't know if I touched on this earlier because we were talking to we've kind of danced around it, but Centauri was putting these arcade cabinets on Earth to get people. It's like it's a test to see if you can be a good starfighter. So it emulates the gun stars to see, and if you get the high score, he comes and gets you and recruits you basically. Video game recruiting devices. I don't think we specifically said it. We kind of danced around it,
It
but
was implied
yeah,
enough.
yeah, but these cabinets, like I said, this one, the one at the trailer park was supposed to be in Vegas. They're apparently scattered all over Earth, and he's the only one that's gotten this high score.
And we are also doing these podcasts under the assumption that you have watched this movie before in preparation for this.
True, true. We do think you've watched the movie, so I stopped saying it. But spoiler alert,
It's been a while since you've done one of those,
it has.
but we have to. Oh, that's what we have to assume that people have watched the movie. Otherwise, we're going to spend way too much time talking about it.
Right, and we already spent a lot of time talking about it.
We do.
So they get into the ship and Grig's showing him the new features, and he's showing him the new features, and Alex is like, "What's this?" He's like, "Oh no, don't touch that. That's the Death Blossom. That's a last resort weapon." He's like, "It's a good thing I was in here installing it when the attack happened. Otherwise, I'd have been dead too." He's like, "What do you mean dead too?" As they start getting set up, and this is where Alex learns that he's the last starfighter. Says the whole rest of the squadron was blown up in the explosion.
Yep. It, they had a thing that needed to happen, and so they just kind of did it, and that was that.
Oh, he did and they said that in the movie, The Last Starfighter. He's the last starfighter because all the other ones got blown up.
Yes.
So he's like, so there's no fleet, there's no plan, and Grig's like, it's okay. Zer thinks you're on Earth, so they don't know there's a starfighter left in space. That's why all the hitbots are going to Earth. It'll be a surprise attack, and Alex is like, it's gonna be a slaughter, and Grig's like, that's the spirit. We're gonna get him.
Oh, Greg is such the optimist.
He is. He's like, no, it's gonna be my slaughter. One ship against a giant armada. And Grig's like, yes, I've always wanted to fight a battle against impossible odds.
Gotta love Greg.
Yes, Grig is my favorite. I was like, well, let's get some practice in before we do this, because this is the maiden voyage of the ship, and we need to work out some of the bugs. Back on Earth, we got Beta helping Otis with an antenna while being watched. Maggie shows up and apologizes for slapping him, and we get the Beta unit kind of learning. I mean, with the handshake, he was able to take Alex's face and kind of figure out what Alex does, but he's
Right.
still learning things about Alex and trying to just blend in. He's just like, "I'm sorry I slapped you." He's like, "Hey, it's okay. I probably deserved it."
But
But we
where he
get
does
back
have
in
his orders,
yeah.
like not to ruin this guy's life.
So we get back to space, and Griggs kind of explaining what's going to happen when the Kodan ship breaks through the frontier. That there'll be a bunch of squadrons coming in, and then the mothership will come in, and they will head to what's left of the base on Rylos. But on the command ship, there is a relay on the mothership that they can take out, and it'll cause all the ships to go down. So he's like, okay, that's we know what we're gonna do. When are we gonna get the front? When we'll be at the frontier? Like we're here now.
Surprise!
So they see a cargo ship flying by. Yeah, they see a cargo ship flying by, and it's definitely one of the it's a spy ship trying to get information out. So they start chasing it and trying to shoot it down. They end up going into this asteroid to follow it, and they blow it up. Greg's like, "Come on, you can do it, Alex. You're the best." You blow it up. Alex is like, "There's somebody on that ship. Basically, I gotta." He's very quickly grappling with the fact that he's gonna start blowing up ships with pilots in them.
Yeah, he's was not prepared to actually have to kill people.
Right. Right, but he blows up the ship, and Grig's the best cheerleader. He's like, "Come on, yeah, Alex, you did such a good job."
Yeah, no, Greg is Greg. If it weren't for Greg, I don't think they would have won.
No, no.
Oh, spoiler.
But so Alex gets mad at Grig, and we get a good get Grig. Alex gets mad. He's like, "This is too much. I don't know if I do it." And Grig's like, "Well, I guess I'll take you home, and you can live your long life and enjoy your peace. Until the Kodan Empire comes up and destroys your planet." Get
Okay.
a Grig guilt trip, but he basically lays it out. It's like, you're it at this point. The rest of the starfighters are gone. The Kodan Empire's coming, and if they do what they're gonna do, they're gonna wipe out everything.
Yeah.
And whatever you think is gonna happen, you're just gonna get blasted out of the planet.
Yeah. You will live, and then suddenly your planet will get destroyed, and you will no longer live.
Back on Earth, Beta is continuing to play the Alex part, except he's able to make it to a trip to the lake with all the friends. Maggie asks him what's going on because he seems off, and then he's like, "Well, you should be having fun, laughing or something." And so he starts laughing in a very, a very serial killer.
Yes. So part of me had a problem with this at first,
Okay,
but it is redeemed also by the fact that he is named Beta.
yeah,
So that implies that he is, in fact, the beta test for this technology.
yes,
So this is a whole thing to where they're trying this new thing out, and this is the beta test, and this one right here is going to be what works out the bugs for for the future of this technology,
yes,
which is why he's not getting it
yeah.
because it's
So
still in its infancy.
as they're going to the lake, they pass a cop who has got his Zandozan with him, and he kind of grabs the cop, takes it, and basically is going to take over the cop's spot. Basically, Zandozan's there, he pulls him in the back seat. But we get back in the asteroid, and they're just kind of sitting there, Grig and Alex looking at each other. And Grig's like, "Hey, this place kind of reminds me of home." And we get a little bit of a backstory about Grig. Not, I wouldn't say backstory, just some information. But he lives underground with his wife Void and 6,000 little Griglings.
Yes, I do like that they made him a full character,
Yeah, yeah. And he pulls out this little, I
like his
I,
wallet.
I guess almost iPhone-ish type thing. I mean, it's a little
Yeah.
screen thing. Anyway, it starts cycling through pictures of his wife and many children or Griglings.
Yep. Griglings.
He's like, "Yeah, we're all happy, and this'll be great, until Zur turns them all into slaves. So where do you live?" He's still laying on the guilt. It's like, you can't leave. We've got to see this out. These are all the things you're fighting for." So he mentions that they lives in caves that are on the ground, more like houses, and tries to describe where he lives to him. And they remembers playing hide and seek with his brother in caves in local area. And he's like, maybe we should play hide and seek with the Armada. He's coming. Alex is coming up with a plan. So they basically stay hidden as the Armada passes, and then they come up from behind and get the jump on him.
Mm-hmm.
And Grig's
That's a
like,
good idea.
that is a really good idea. It's like, too bad there aren't any starfighters left to do the plan.
Right. Greg just digging in deep.
Yeah. At this point, some Zurian ships show up and they have a little space battle. These are the scout ships that got sent in to take care of things beforehand. But Alex steps up. He says he'll do it. He's like, "There is a starfire left. Let's do it." So we cut back to Earth. We're at Silver Lake. Beta and Maggie are doing some light accounting.
They got some tax prep going on.
Yeah, yeah. And Beta is copying the other guy. He's using his.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
he's within earshot of another of one of Alex's friends,
yeah,
and he
he's
is
so
repeating everything.
Yeah, with all the sweet talk and everything, and then what is it? Jack, he's copying, and Jack's like, "So the other lady meant nothing to me. It's all about you," which Beta repeats, and Maggie's like, "What?"
Yeah. Yep. When that part happened, Rachel and I both went, "No, don't do that."
And the baby was like, "Okay, okay, okay, fine. I can't do this anymore. I'm not real. Alex is in space. This whole thing's made up. I'm messing things up." And she's like,
He
"What?" Like, he just
he just he just he just gives up.
yeah.
Nope, this
He
is too hard. Not doing it.
yeah, he gives up on the plan right away. He's like, "Okay, this is too much. I'm wrecking things." She's like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm a robot." And then then he gets shot.
And starts leaking green stuff, and he's like,
Yeah.
"See?"
He's like, "See?"
And she quickly is just like, "Oh, yep," and is just, like, on board to follow him?
Yeah. Yeah, so he runs off. He's like, "I gotta save everybody and distract the guy." And Maggie's like, "Well, I'm coming with you." He's like, "No, it's dangerous." She's like, "Too bad," and shoves him out of the way and gets to the truck. It's like, "Alright."
Yeah. She is, like, at the ready, like,
Yeah.
she thinks it's Alex and he's acting weird. All of a sudden, he's like, "Not doing it. I'm an alien. Alex is fighting an evil galactic empire. I'm just a robot." Then he gets shot and then starts bleeding green stuff. And he's like, "Yep, see, there it is." And she's like, "Oh, all right." And he's like, "Gotta go take care of stuff." And she goes, "Cool, I'm right there with you." Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
no time to process everything that just happened in a
she loves
very short
Alex, and
window.
she loves Alex, and she's gonna help it however she can.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a lot to process, and she leaned into it.
Yep. Well, they drive off. Jack's like, "Hey, where's my truck?"
Oh yeah,
He's
they
like,
do steal
I'll
his
get you."
truck.
Yeah, they did steal his truck. But we cut back to the Kodan Empire Armada. They're cutting a hole in the frontier. They're getting ready to invade. Krill is hesitant because they haven't heard anything from the scouts they sent in that Alex and Grig just blew up, and Zur doesn't care. He's like, "The moon's eclipsing. The frontier is now down. The starfighters are dead. We need to invade. My plan is set." So Krill gives the orders to move on, and the Kodan get into formation and they start to move in. And so as they're moving through, they start using energy probes. Alex has to shut down the ship, so they're sitting there in dark and silence,
Mm,
waiting for the Kodan to fly over. So the Zandozan that shot the Beta unit saw that he was a Beta unit, so he jumped in the police cruiser and he was headed back to his ship, which is why the Beta unit and Maggie were going to go chasing after him because they had to
yes,
stop him from reporting back
right. That that
that Alex was not on planet.
right, like they
They
thought.
Yeah, yeah, he was supposed to be there to draw the fire while they did their sneaky Last Starfighter maneuvers.
Yes.
So the Zandozan gets back to his ship. He jumps out. He runs to his ship and starts to send a message. Maggie's kind of getting updated on what Alex is doing. She seems to like the idea of Alex being in space, being a hero. as
As you would.
as Beta keeps driving, and the Zandostar starts sending his message, starts sending the message out, and Beta's like, "Okay, when I tell you, you're gonna have to jump." And she's like, "What?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna ram the ship. So you need to be safe." And Maggie's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Jump." So she jumps out. She rolls, and Beta doesn't jump. He stays in the truck, drives straight for the ship, crashes into it, and blows up. But we're back at the Kodan ship, and they're getting a message about the last starfighter is, and that's all the messages that come through. Krill's looking at it like the last starfighter is, and Zur, the ever optimist, is like, is dead. The last starfighter is dead. Perfect. They've done their job. Now nothing can stop us. And Krill just kind of like clears. Krill squints and kind of looks at him. He's like, I don't know if that's what the message was. He doesn't say it, but that looks like he's unsure of Zur's confidence.
Yeah, I would be too.
But the armada passes over. They see the command ship. They see the turret, and Alex looks at this little family picture that he has on his console. Maggie's looking up to space at this point and says, "I love you, Alec Rogan." And Grig looks at him like, "Good luck, Starfighter." And they start up the ship and take off to enact the plan.
Yep.
As they're coming up behind the command ship, the Gunstar is caught on the radar, and Krill is mad. He's like, "That's it. Nothing's going right. You've messed everything up. Take him away." And Zur's like, "What? as he gets grabbed and starts getting dragged out of the room.
Yep. Yeah, they turned on
He's
him
like,
real fast.
yeah, he's like, okay, this is no longer your party. There's a starfighter left. These guys are dangerous, and we you're done. All fire on the starfighter. So they're preparing to all start shooting at the starfighter, but Alex and Grig are faster. They're able to blow up the turret and hit the command ship. And as they do, the ship shakes. Zer breaks free. He grabs his staff and jumps into an escape pod and is off in the wind. So now with the command ship crippled from the loss of the turret, the wing commanders are preparing for battle with the Gunstar. So they're doing what they can. They're holding their own for at the moment, but there's just too many ships at the moment. So they're preparing for the Death Blossom, but they need to be careful because it could blow up the ship. This is what Greg says.
Yeah,
So, but they're kind of waiting at the moment as they've blown up a couple ships, but they're still getting surrounded and everybody's kind of moving in, converging on them. As Greg says, "You need to wait for my signal, Alex."
because he wants to
Um,
wait for everyone to be in within
yep,
range
yep. Everybody needs to be within range.
because they only have one shot.
And yep, only one shot. And Alex is reciting the opening of the game. You have been recruited by Star League to defend the frontier against the Zur and the Kodan Armada. He's like, okay, I was recruited. He's getting it. Um, and then Grig's like, now, and he yeah. So Grig tells him now. He hits the Death Blossom button, and the ship just starts spinning and shooting every direction, which is not what I was expecting.
No, that's not what I. It no, that no.
I was thinking more of a burst.
Yeah,
Not
n-
a,
a ground bloom firework display.
right. It's spitty shooty time, basically. But it works. They're able to get all the wing commanders gone, and they're excited. They're celebrating their little victory when the command ship shows up. Like, "We did it, yay!" And then the command ship.
Right.
But the Kodan ship has no weapons at the moment, so they're planning to just ram the Gunstar because it's just sitting there. It's not moving. Like, "We'll ram it. We don't have any weapons. Fine, we'll use what we got."
Just yeah, I mean, you're much bigger. Run them over.
Exactly.
That is not a bad plan.
That was Beta's plan. Ram the starship.
Yeah, it worked before.
It did. So yeah, they're sitting ducks. Life support system's the only thing that's left. Grig is doing what he can to get it going to start the attack. And at the last minute, Grig's able to divert power, get things back online, and they start the attack.
Yep.
Krill asks for a damage report, and his commander's like, "Yeah, everything's down. They're locked onto the moon's gravity is starting to pull us in. What do we do?" And Krill's like, "We die."
Very stoic.
Yeah. The ship slowly flies into the moon, it blows up, and the Gunstar, flies away, and Alex goes, "Woohoo!"
He does.
A lot less like Mario and more like, Han Solo at the end of Star Wars.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's definitely more of a Han Solo and less of a Mario.
After I said it, I'm like, "Well, that was a Mario,
Wah!
But we get a Star Wars style celebration at the end of this with music very similar to the first movie, of them coming off the ship. Everybody's around him cheering. He doesn't get a medal, but he's talking to the ambassador.
It's really close.
It is. It's really close. The music is like, okay. But the Empire, the ambassador's like, with the frontier down, Zur having escaped, if Alex wouldn't mind staying to help rebuild the Starfighter League. And Alex like, you want me to stay? He's like, yeah, yeah. And if you were to stay, you would have help from an old friend. And they kind of gesture to a dude standing there with glowing eyes, and he puts his face back on, and it's Centauri. Uh,
Ah, we got you. He's not dead.
yeah, he was just dormant while his body repaired itself.
Someone could have mentioned that to Alex.
Yes, but Grig wanted the guilt there.
Fair. I mean, yeah. Sure. Sure. The tactics of the good guys in this movie are kind of questionable.
A little bit. But Centauri, Grig, and the people around him convince Alex to stay.
Yes.
He's like, "All right, yeah, yeah, we'll do this." Maggie is sad and alone.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's up by the Starlight Starbright sign, and we get Alex's mom, Mrs. Rogan, calling for Alex. And as Maggie's like, "Well, I should probably tell I should probably tell her what's going on." So she leaves, and we see the Starfighter arcade game starts flashing again. Um, Jack shows up looking for his truck. Mom's looking for Alex, and Maggie's like, "Okay, I'm about to tell you everything that happened and why your truck's gone, why Alex is gone, why things are being so weird." When the wind picks up, and they all see a spaceship coming down to the parking lot of the little shop. Everybody's like, "Oh, what's this?" And the trailer
Yep,
park gathers quickly, but
as
Maggie
you
walks.
would.
Yeah, but Maggie walks over to it as the conveyor belt comes down and Alex gets lowered down to the ground. He takes off his helmet, and Maggie's like, "You're alive," and they kiss. And
Aw.
everybody rushes, and he explains about the beta unit, that there was somebody else here taking his place, and Grig comes down as well. He's like, "Hey, I'm Grig," and Granny pulls out a shotgun.
Good old
She's like, "A
Granny.
monster!" And they're like, "No, no, no, he's good, he's friendly." So Grig starts meeting everybody, and he starts telling everybody what Alex did and how big of a hero he is, and everybody's like, "Oh, I know you do good things, Alex."
Yeah, very, very quickly adjusting to the situation
They
at
they
hand.
all they're all like, "Yay, Alex!" And Alex is telling Maggie that he's got to go back. That he just came by to get her because he wants her to come too. And Maggie's like, I can't. What about Granny? I got to take care of her. There's a lot going on. I can't just go to space. He's like, I love you, and I came back to take you with me. We're gonna go to space. We're gonna do this thing, and please." And she's like, I can't. And he's like, okay. And he starts going back, and then Granny's like, "Hey, I'll be fine. Go have an adventure." Maggie's like, "You sure?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm good." It's like, "Okay, bye." "Wait, Alex,
Yeah,
I'm going to space."
for an undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah. Oh, and Lewis, when Griggs meeting everybody meets Lewis, he's like, "I've heard a lot about you, and I can expect great things from you in the future." And Lewis like, "Yeah."
And Lewis
Um,
has his own room now.
yeah. He does. So yeah, Maggie and Alex are going up into the spaceship. Otis is very happy to see them off, and this part of, I mean, Otis's reaction to all this too makes me think he's in part of it. He's like, "Yeah, let's go, come on, guys.
Yeah,
Alex
the
is the
more
best."
the more I think about it, and the more we talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I think
Whether he's
Otis had a lot
whether
to
he's
do with it.
directly involved or he just knows what's going on, like he is an alien and he's like, "Yeah, I'll support this, save the planet that I've decided to retire on," or something.
Yeah, either way, I think Otis is involved, or in the know at least. Actually, I
Yeah,
think Otis is involved. I think he's a lot more important
yeah.
than we're ever led to believe.
But they take off back into space, and we see Lewis standing at the Starfighter arcade game. He's like, "Okay, let's do this," and he is planning to train to be a starfighter as well.
Yep,
And that's the end of the movie.
and roll credits.
Roll credits. That was the Last Starfighter.
Yes, it was.
Well, why don't you hit us with your final thoughts first, then?
Why don't I hit you with my final thoughts first?
Yes. Why don't you hit us with your final thoughts first?
Okay.
Final
Um,
thoughts.
yes.
There we go.
So I really wish that I liked watching that movie as much as I liked talking to you about that movie.
Okay.
It does not have the nostalgia factor for me at all.
Okay.
I don't want to say that movie was stupid, but I wanted to watch it again last night so that I would be prepared for the podcast this morning since we had to reschedule. And I got about 15 minutes in and was like, "You know what? I don't care that much. I'm not going to watch it again. I don't want to watch it again." And the first time I attempted to watch The Last Starfighter, I got about 15 minutes in and I was like, "I don't want to watch this movie." So when you said we're going to be watching The Last Starfighter, I was not looking forward to it. However, I can honestly say that I am very glad that I did watch the movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it the first run a bit. I thought it was I didn't particularly care for it, but now that I got to talk to you and do the podcast, I get to see it in a whole different way. And you know what? I might actually watch it again after having talked to you about it. And I think
Okay.
if I do, I might like it a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So I want to give it another chance.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was very heavily influenced by Star Wars. I thought
Yes.
very
Yes, it
heavily.
is. It is influenced by Star Wars.
And I wish I want to say I wish they would have had a bigger budget, but sometimes as far as like the special effects and the space thing went, I wish they would have tried a little harder.
Okay.
And I mean, just because the technology at the time just wasn't there, and they didn't have the Star Wars budget, and so I think if they could have done something to, I don't know, I don't, yeah, I don't, all I can put it as, yeah, try a little harder with the space sets, because like you said, when it blew up, I mean, literally, it was like someone did it on a computer screen and just like nicely cut out the section that was blown up.
Yeah.
But I don't know, same way we look at some other movies that are older and fun. Part of the fun of them is they weren't there to be cinematic masterpieces. They were there to tell a fun, campy story.
Okay. Well, since we were talking about budgets, I looked it up really quickly. Star Wars budget was 11 million,
Yes.
like the first Star Wars movie. The Last Starfighter was 15 million.
I wish they would have tried harder then.
They went a different direction. They were looking into the new technology, computer graphics, and decided to go that way with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So it was the fact that they used
but
they
yeah,
okay. Yeah. So they were trying something new and it just didn't work.
not as well as they would like.
Right. And then you had, George Lucas and what Jim Henson too was a part of the first Star Wars.
Little bit, mostly just for creature design and stuff, but it
Right.
was it was it was Lucas's.
But yeah, you had, I mean, they were builders,
Yeah,
set design people that were really, yeah. So, yeah, they went the way of the new technology, and the new technology just wasn't at the caliber that it needed to be to really do what they wanted to do with it.
yeah,
Kind of like how George Lucas felt about episodes 1, 2, and 3 with Star Wars, where he had that in mind, but the technology wasn't there, and so he waited till it was.
yeah, to do the other ones.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it's a cheesy, campy 80s movie with bad graphics that was heavily influenced by Star Wars. And if you watch it for what it is there, I think you'll have fun with it.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. It was for me, it was a rediscovery of a movie that I liked growing up with dad.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, it's a little campy, a little cheesy in parts. Definitely got the Star Wars influence there. Like, okay, we need to make a space movie to come out since the last Star Wars movie just came out. Um, but I enjoyed it. I like the humor of it. It's something I'll watch again. I haven't seen it in ages, like I said, and it was a rediscovery. I had a lot of fun watching it. I saw it twice preparing for this, and I will probably watch it again. And I got the novelization of the movie that I'll probably read as well.
Yeah, actually, I might look at see if there's an audiobook of that and give her a listen if I do find
It
it.
probably is. I opened up to just a random page, and Lewis's friend David actually has lines in this, so that may have been original part of the screenplay because this novelization is based on the screenplay where Will Wheaton's character had more to do, like you said. So,
Yeah,
but I had a blast with it. I think it's a fun movie. Grig is a fantastic character. So is Centauri, and the guys that played them just kind of put everything into it and um, sold those characters very well.
definitely. Yeah, like something Kevin from Disciple on one of the Zoom meetings pointed out was like, your opinion of a movie changes or can change based on who you watch it with.
Yeah,
And so, like, Rachel and I had never seen it before, so we didn't have that fun nostalgia factor to it. So we were just kind of like, yeah, it's all right, well, whatever, Star Wars ripoff. But then I got to talk to you about it, and we got to share of like, you're like, oh yeah, Grig, and like, oh yeah, well, Grig was great, and Centauri was great, and now I'm looking at it with more from a different lens, so to
yeah,
speak. And so
yeah.
now I kind of want to go into it, and I want to watch it again. I will watch it again in my life
Okay.
after having talked to you about it and coming to it, coming at it from that kind
Yeah.
of a lens
Okay. Good.
of after having had this episode talking to you about it and like I said, I loved talking about it with you. I enjoyed the movie so much more in this capacity of us talking about it than I did watching it, and so now I'm
It's
really
happened a few
curious to
times.
yeah, so now I'm really curious to actually watch it again through that lens.
Yeah,
I don't think I'll be able to convince Rachel to do
that's
it.
okay. Are you gonna do the same thing with, like, Airheads? Watch that again with the lens of
No.
That's fair.
No, because I like
But
talking to you about it, but it didn't make me appreciate or like Airheads anymore.
this one
Talking to you about
but
it
this
like
is
this
just kinda
did.
giving you like, "Okay, I should give it another
Yeah,
chance."
I should look at it through, yeah, a different lens. Because I arrived there on my own that like, oh, this is a fun, campy '80s movie, and you kind of have to appreciate the good parts about it and forgive the parts that weren't there
Yeah.
or that fell short.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at it and wondering, like, could is this a movie that you could take the plot and everything and redo it, basically? Reboot it?
Good,
Maybe.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but
But that's it. That's I think that's our final thoughts.
yeah, I think that I don't have anything else, and you don't have anything else. So yeah,
No.
that wraps up our final thoughts. So I guess we get into
What?
Marshall's one of Marshall's favorite parts,
Yes.
where I get to surprise him with what we're watching next.
Yes, and I have no idea which direction we're going with this. We've the last couple movies have kinda taken us down a different road than we were doing before, so
Yeah, and this has, I think, none of the same actors, none of the same theme,
okay.
and yeah, it's gonna be a complete different jump from any other movie that we've done.
Okay, so we're taking, like, a hard left.
Oh yeah. And
Okay.
because this is not a movie we watched a lot during our childhood either.
Okay.
But I remember we rented it from Video Factory, and I watched it probably 8 times in that weekend
Okay.
that we had it, and I don't think we ever rented it again. I don't think I ever saw it again other than that one weekend, but I remembered loving it.
It's not the Tim Noah movie where something came out of the closet, is it?
No, no, it's not.
Okay.
No, we are going to. This is going to be our first movie that has a military theme.
Ooh.
I say loosely because we are going to go into McHale's Navy.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
You have. Like I said, we rented it one weekend and I watched it very much. So you might have only watched it the one time, but we watched it in your room.
Who's in that?
Uh, Tom Arnold stars in it.
Oh. Okay. Yes, I do think we watched this once or twice.
I remember watching it a lot in the weekend we rented it because I absolutely loved it. I also have very little memory of it,
I
and I
when
wanted
you
to watch it to make sure it was a family-friendly movie, and I never got around to it. So I guess we're
okay.
gonna find out because I ran out of time.
When you said that, I've first immediately thought down Periscope.
Down Paris, yep,
They're like, "No,
which I
no,
don't.
you're getting that wrong. His name's Mikhail, but it's down Periscope." But no, you're right. There's the Tom Arnold movie that okay,
Yep. So that is our
very
next.
okay.
Didn't see that coming at all, did you?
No, 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 I did not see that coming at all.
I
Is
because yeah, I had another movie in mind, and I was talking to Rachel, and I mentioned that I loved the movie McHale's Navy, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Just mention McHale's Navy, and and then I was like, you know what, that's it. I'm gonna decide on a whim. And I was like, well, what do you think about this movie, McHale's Navy? And she goes, well, I haven't seen McHale's Navy, so let's go with that one. And I'm like, perfect, done.
okay.
So
You
this is
think
one
this'll
I
you think this'll be one we have to apologize for?
yeah. I honestly I don't know.
Okay.
'Cause
Well, I'm excited.
it's based on the TV show.
Right, right. The TV. I mean, I remember watching the TV show on Nick at Night all the time.
Yeah, so, I mean, if mom and dad liked the TV show, then they might also enjoy the movie.
And it's got Tom Arnold in it, so how could that be,
Yeah, who doesn't like Tom Arnold?
Roseanne?
Alright, so up next, McHale's Navy.
All right.
So thank you to everyone who came along and joined us in our intergalactic journey through The Last Starfighter. Our intro and outro music was provided by Nihilor, that intro being Grace, that outro being Haven. It looked like Marshall had something he wanted to say, so I'm going to let him. He's shaking his head, no, I'm just an idiot. If you want to reach out to us, you can do so. WatchItBroPodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at WatchItBroPod. We have an Instagram and Facebook with the same handle if you're more familiar with that platform. And as always, thank you for watching.